Season here in season 27. We've got two classic tracks tonight. We're off to Interlagos in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and that's followed by a trip to the wonderful, magnificent Suzuka figure of 8 circuit. But we'll start off here in Interlagos with qualifying underway. I'm Ginger Andy, and joining me for these two races we've got Dan the Man. Dan, how are you feeling ahead of this one?
Good evening, Andy. Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I absolutely love both of these tracks, two classics, as you say, and hopefully we're going to get some exciting action. I've just nearly witnessed Sam Hickey there, who's currently on pole at the moment, almost go into the back of the Renault as he entered the pit lane, but no contact was made.
Yeah, well, Sam Hickey, let's have a quick word about him. He's gone into the pit lane now, but he had quite the fan base last week, didn't he? I'm not too sure if you've seen that in the chat. I mean, we had all kinds of Hickmans popping out of the woodwork in his support. So, yeah, possibly the most popular man in TGP is Sam Hickman. And he's quickest at the minute on that 1 minute 7.52. Jack Pearson's second at the minute. But, you know, I've done a bit of practice with Jack Pearson this week, and he actually managed to go into the 1 minute 7.2s. And that's quicker than where I went in TGP1. So, he and Mike Noon, they're going to be quite quick. I think Mike Noon was very quick as well, so it's going to be interesting to see who can come out on top there, because it should be tight.
Yeah, it is. It should be very, very close. It always tends to be in TGP qualifying in Brazil. I did just see Mike Noon in the previous lap. He invalidated it, so he's back in the pit lane now. He's in third place at the moment, but it's so close. Look at that, less than a 10 separate the top three. Yeah,
very, very close then, as you'd expect around this lap. This is one of two racetracks on the Formula 1 calendar that you will get in under 70 seconds. That is here, Interlagos, Brazil, and the other one being the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Of course, this year in the unprecedented, or 2020, the unprecedented calendar, we had the Bahrain Short as well, or however you want to call it, the Sakir circuit, the outer loop. But we've actually joined with most drivers on end laps at the minute. Chris Thurgood out there at the minute, just coasting round. It is Sam Hickman.
He's also just invalidated as well.
Yeah. So
Nell Jack coming around the final corner.
Yeah, and we've got Joe Sayer as well. We'll go to Nell Jack first. Alex Coates, as he's known, the Norwich City fan, will be happy that his team's top of the championship. He's coming into the pit, so we'll keep an eye on Joe Sayer. Sayer Sports then heading for the line. What is his opening lap of the afternoon? It's going to be 8th place, just over half a second off the top time, but yeah, it's going to be very tight today. One of the shortest tracks on the calendar. So, Dan, what do you think will be the target lap time then? Probably a low 1 minute 7 for pole position?
Yeah, I think it will be. Was it high 106s yesterday in TGP1? So yeah, probably something like that, or in that ballpark, I'd say, at this stage. Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see, as Mike Noon is on an out lap. So let's actually go on board then with Mike Noon, as he is about to start a flying lap. As he comes across the line, winner, of course, last week, to start a flying lap around this wonderful Sao Paulo circuit, down into the Senate S, turns 1 and 2. You just got to get tight to the inside for that first corner to just run down the hill. He's invalidated it already, hasn't he?
Yeah, he turned 2, he took too much curb, which is, it's very, very, very easy to do. And, he nearly lost it as he going into turn 4 there, but he has invalidated again. 6 minutes to go, so he's easily going to be able to get another lap in and everything, but I wonder, this is tyres being wasted, the fuel, it's not good at all for Mike Noon to invalidate twice in this session.
Yeah, not ideal at all for Mike Noon. And just for any of our viewers, those that aren't joining with us regularly, that track map you can see on the right hand side, as soon as that lights up red at any moment, it means the lap has been invalidated, and it means that they cut the corner somewhere, or track extended at some point, and that means the lap will not count. So, what about his main rival, Jack Pearson, who makes his way down through the Senate S? We'll pick the lap up from this point through turn 3, which back in 2003 saw about 6 or 7 cars in the barrier. That was, one of my most prominent memories from Formula 1 in the early days of my youth. Jack Pearson then going through turn 4 at Desiro del Lago, and he also track extends, runs wide, and makes a meal of it, doesn't he, Dan?
He does, yeah. It was way too wide out to turn 4, and they just can't get a lap in at the minute, it seems. These guys at the top. Giapelli's just gone into 4th.
Yeah.
Chiapelli.
Yes, and he was a winner last time out as well. A man that seems to say that every time I commentate, he seems to win a race. So I'm his good luck charm as he goes 400s quicker through that first sector. So he's going for 2 runs here. Let's stick with Luca Chiapelli then as he carries on his way into that middle sector, the tight technical twisty part 2, 5 and 6. Further to it, up the hill into turn 7 and the tight turn 8. Get right down into second gear. Hug the inside like your favourite granny. Down the hill through this left-hander, favour the throttle, get on it as soon as you can, and then plant the throttle for this uphill right-hander. It's almost like deja vu, this section, isn't it? You go uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. It's quite repetitive, isn't it? It's like 2 similar sections, Dan, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. It's the crunchy bit in the middle of this circuit, but he's just gone purple in that second sector. Is he coming down the back straight now? Well, it's not really straight, but it sort of is the main straight, DRS enabled. Is this going to be enough to take pole at the moment?
Oh yes it is, by a tenth and a bit. Mr. Chiapelli shaves a little bit more off the pole time, a 1 minute 7.4 winner last time out, and he's on course perhaps for pole position and another shot at victory here. The Alpha Tauri working wonders around this racetrack, and Mr. Chiapelli with 4 minutes to go has lowered the bar to a 1.7.4.
That's what happens when you get a lap in without invalidating. Chiapelli goes to the top of the times.
Yeah, it just goes to show it is all about sometimes just getting the lap in. TGP, there's a lot of controversy. Controversy is a strong word, but there was a few people having, not too happy that they went to strict corner cutting. But I think it's been for the better, Dan, hasn't it? It's
oh, definitely.
It's been for the better. It's allowed more disciplined driving, and you just got to stay within those white lines, fully concentrate. And sometimes it doesn't have to be an epic lap, it just needs to be a clean, tidy and pretty quick lap, and that's exactly what it is for Mr. Chiapelli. I mean, one of the drivers that struggled quite a lot with corner cutting, we spoke about it last season, many a seasons, is Jack Pearson. Last time out, only 3 seconds over the course of the 2 races, but so far in qualifying we've seen him cut corners. Today you'll be looking to iron that out over the course of the season, because he started well last week with that, didn't he?
He did indeed, yeah. Just been watching Baz there. He was on a lap, but he's just gone very wide into turn 4. I only caught the end of that, so I'm not sure if he made an error. Another Red Bull's just gone wide at turn 4 there, but I think he was getting out the way. So Baz is going to probably have to go again if he can. He's got the fuel too with just under 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, well, the top 3 all in the pits at the minute, but the time ticking away. Still time for 2 laps. You can leave it really late to come out of the pits round here, obviously with it being such a short lap. So Baz out there at the minute in 7th quickest. Smokey J's I think is on a lap as Chris Thurgood pops up into 2nd place. Now he is a man that has got probably some of the most gifted talent in this league, natural talent wise. I don't imagine Chris is the kind of guy that puts a lot of practice in TGP2. We've seen him at the top of TGP1 winning races, haven't we? So Chris Thurgood going 2nd quickest there, that's a good effort from him.
And Joe Sayer was about to complete a lap, but he slowed right down for some reason. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Oh, it's Smokey Chase, by the way, going very quickly, 3 and a bit tenths up on his previous best through the 2nd sector. He's now getting a toe down the straight. Is it good enough for the front row? It is, and he's a tenth away from Mr. Chiapelli, so it's getting tighter and tighter up front. It's Chiapelli from Smokey Chase, Chris down to 3rd, and that's as good as it will get for him. Sam Hickman starting another flying lap, as is Jack Pearson. Mike Noonan is out there, but he's ruined the first sector.
Not and he's invalidated.
Well. Yeah, he's ruined it, he's wasted it. So Mike Noonan needs to save the fuel and go again, under pressure here. Sam Hickman, meanwhile, starts another flying lap at the end of qualifying here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's very, very tight. He's gone 1 and a bit tenths, almost 1.5 tenths quicker through that first sector, has Sam Hickman. That's an awful lot of time in a sector that's less than 20 seconds, Dan, isn't it?
It is, it's incredibly quick. So Jack and Mike Noonan, the 2 drivers who were on the front row on both races last week, are 5th and 6th right now, and one of them is just invalidated.
Oh, goodness me, the pressure is on for those guys as Sam Hickman is turning up the heat here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Haas driver looking to put this car on pole position. Sweeping down the hill he goes now towards the final sector. What's it going to be for the 2nd time he's lost a little bit of time. He's just a fraction up. It needs to be an epic final part of the lap. Has he got little downforce on that Haas to push him and drag him up towards that line and put that car on pole? A 1 minute 7.4 flat is the target. Here comes Sam Hickman. He's done it by 8,000th of a second into the 1 minute 7.3s now. Goes Sam Hickman, but Chiapelli is starting another lap. Smokey Jace is out there but going slowly, and Jack Pearson is absolutely flying through that 2nd sector. This could just throw caution to the wind and blow everyone away. Jack Pearson, this could potentially be in the 1 minute 60s. It's a 1:71. What a lap that is from Jack Pearson, surely threatening pole position with that one.
Well, Chiapelli's gone purple sector 1, but he's got big traffic with this Haas right now. Mike Noon's about to cross the line in a moment. He's about to finish the second sector, but Chiapelli was flying, and now he's caught traffic.
Oh, Sam Hickman, he'll get a slap this for that one as Mike Noon has lost it on this line-up. He's off, he's in the wall. Sore one for Mike Noon, and at the minute, things are looking good for Jack Pearson because Sam Hickman has made a bit of an error there and held up Mr. Chiapelli. That could be a penalty, couldn't it, Dan?
It may well be, yeah, for the next race in Japan, possible quali ban, something like that potentially, but Chiapelli is 7/10 off in his middle sector. It's going to have to take something incredible to beat his time now.
Bossman Sean out there still, he's going quite quickly, you know.
And it's got purple in sector 2.
Yeah, 2.5 tenths up on his previous best, so this is looking pretty reasonable for Bossman Sean. He's not got much ERS left though, so he might lose a bit of time down the straight towards the line. Will it be enough to move him up from 8th position on the grid though? Should be, yes, up into the top 4 then for Bossman Sean. A late charge up the order. I tell you what, if he had a little bit more ERS, that could have been threatening the front row, couldn't it?
Could they have, indeed. So it's so close between 2nd and 5th. Jack is a little bit further away from them with that 107.1 as he crossed the line again there. He's just another lap, he's done those tyres, not sure what that's all about. But championship leader Mike Noon will start 7th in this race.
Not ideal at all for Mike Noon. Down in 7th place, the championship leader Jack Pearson. What a lap that is, a 1 minute 7.197. I can hear the crowd baying for him to be in TGP1. Can't you, Dan?
Yeah, I can indeed, yes. Very much so.
And that's
an iron, of course.
Yeah, and of course he will. You know, we all know what he's like, but that's quite a gap over such a short lap. Then 0.2 of a second, he is clear of Sam Hickman, who starts 2nd on the front row. Mr. Chiapelli lines up 3rd. He'll be annoyed about Sam Hickman blocking him on that quick lap. Bossman Sean is 4th. Smokey J's the Danish driver is 5th. Chris is 6th. Mike Noon 7th. Tom Smith 8th. Baza in 9th. Joe Sayer rounds out the top 10 just ahead of Chris Thurgood, Neil Jack, Zaffro, Angel vs Death, Mr. John, Indecisive Shep, Sir Tom Penguins and Blair Grills bringing up the rear. I should note, I've been asked very kindly by my good friend Red Bull Kim, the Danish Viking, to let everyone know that he will not be here tonight because his Renault Clio has failed him. So Red Bull Kim is furious about his Renault Clio. He has advised everyone in TGP not to buy a Renault. So there you go.
Wow, well that's not great advertising there for Renault. I'm very sorry to hear that, Red Bull Kim. That is really a shame. Yeah. That pole lap by Jack would have put him 10th on the grid yesterday in TGP1.
So there you go, ahead of me. Dom, get him in TGP1. Come on, Dom. I hope you're listening.
Would have been ahead of you,
yeah, I hope you're listening, Dom. Get him in. I know you're racing, but you know, I'm advocating that. But anyway, let's see how this race pans out. It should be a cracker. We know we always get good action in Brazil, don't we? Plenty of overtaking opportunities down into turn 1, into turn 4 as well. So let's see what the race brings then as they line up on the grid for round number 3 of the championship. Who will be leading the championship as we leave Sao Paulo? It's Jack Pearson on pole as we get underway as the lights go out. So good start from the Mercedes driver. He will lead easily into that first corner ahead of Sam Hickman and Mr. Chiapelli and Chris Thurgood in there as well. Are they all going to get through safely? They didn't yesterday, but they seemingly will today. And Mike Noon has made up a place. He's up to 6th place already, but look at the front. Sam Hickman is challenging Jack Pearson. He's pulling alongside the Mercedes driver. He's moving past the Mercedes driver and into the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix after only 4 turns, down the man.
Well, Jack Pearson went wide into turn 1, so he had to take a tighter line into the next corner, and that really cost him on the run down to turn 4, and that gave Sam Hickey the lead. The two McLarens were too eager to start. They both jump-started. Drive-through for both of them.
Oh, drive-through for both McLarens. What an absolute disaster that is. The McLaren's not a stop-go because they'll both be queuing in there if it was. Sam Hickman then leads from Jack Pearson. Mr. Chiapelli 3rd. Bossman Sean 4th. They're both where they started. Chris Thurgood's made up a place ahead of Smokey J's. Don Smith up 1 and Sayer Sports up 2. Mike Noon has had a disaster. He's down in 18th place. What has happened there?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. He must have had a bit of contact at some point. I don't know if he's got damage, but yeah, he's right at the back. Oh, and Blair Grills pulls up to the side there, and they lose it. Oh, and we've lost Chris Thurgood.
Oh, that's a shame. Chris Thurgood out of this race then. Mike Noon in the wars already. don't know what happened to him. He's not getting any wing damage from what I've seen on the screen, so it's difficult to try and figure out what's went wrong there. But what we can tell you is at the front we had a change of leadership. Sam Hickman off the line on the run down to turn 4, got the move done into Ducino Delago this very corner here, and is ahead of Jack Pearson at the start. Great stuff from the youngster, or the debutant this season, and he's ahead of Jack Pearson and Mr. Chiapelli in third. Bossman Sean in fourth.
Chiapelli under pressure here from Bossman Sean. I think he was a little bit all over the place into the Ski Delago last time round. DRS will not be enabled, of course, for another lap yet.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. Missed Mike Noon, look at that, 3 second time penalty.
Wow.
Things going from bad to worse from him. What a disaster for the World Championship leader in only the third round of the season. We know how important it is, Dan, don't we, to just be consistent in TGP2, TGP1. We know that safety cars can come out so often, they can cause so much drama in this short format of races, and sometimes it's just about keeping your nose clean and you can stay in the championship battle. It's down towards turn 1, they go again. Sam Hickman still holding off Jack Pearson to the tune of 0.4 of a second.
Mike Noon has got a 14-point lead in the championship, so it's not horrific, I suppose, if he loses a bit of points in this race, but obviously still not at all ideal. Bazza shaping up a move on Saya Sports here. DRS is finally enabled. That could be the one overtake we see, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
7th place.
Go on, Bazza. Through he goes the
left. Big crash at the back.
Oh, so Tom
Penguin at turn 3. Make contact. I'm not sure who with, but going right into the wall. It was one of the Williams, and well, it hasn't caused a safety car or anything like that, but that was a massive hit.
Yeah, so one then for Sir Tom Penguin. He's out of the race. An early bath for him, and that's a real shame. Apologies, didn't catch that one on the stream, but perhaps he's trying to replicate some of the action we saw in that 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix as he loses it going through Cover de Sol, and he's out. And the first retirement from this Brazilian Grand Prix. Back to the front then. Sam Hickman leads from Jack Pearson in second, but Jack getting ever closer. Let's get the telemetry enabled, and he's got the DRS open. He's not using overtake just yet. Sam Hickman defends to the inside. Jack Pearson, new fastest lap, 1 minute 9.8. No sign of a safety car from that Tom Penguin incident. They'll cover it under yellow flags. Still Sam Hickman in the lead, but Jack Pearson really starting to pressure him now, isn't he?
Jack Pearson maybe might think about being a bit more conservative than he absolutely would have had to previously, because Mike Noon's so far down the order. Jack Pearson second in the championship on 30 points. It's Sam Hickey really who will absolutely want to make some ground up to Mike Noon at the top. He's only got 15 points at the minute in the championship.
3 second time penalty for Bossman Sean as well then, folks, so things getting going from bad to worse for him as Mr. Chiapelli runs in third, and Bossman Sean, you don't want to be picking up penalties. It's so, you know, as I mentioned many times, you don't want to make mistakes, you don't want to pick up penalties. Safety cars at any moment can just totally send you from the front to the back. I remember Roy last season in TGP1, I think he crossed the line 15th in France and ended up in the top 6 or something. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? How things pan out then, isn't it?
Yeah, we had the same with Court yesterday. He was, I think he was 9th across the road here in Brazil, and ended up jumping up to 4th because drivers ahead of him had penalties. But it looks like the top 5 are starting to pull away now from they're forming their own little group at the moment. Dom, they're 3 seconds back in 6th place with Bazza right behind them. Can't go for the move just yet. Look at Chris Johnson though, 8th place, medium tyres, highest running driver on the mediums at the minute.
We better get the tyres back up. Yeah, good stuff from Chris Johnson. Down the inside goes Chiapelli on Jack Pearson. He forces him wide and gets the move done. Elbows out from Mr. Chiapelli, and he's forced his way through on Jack Pearson. It was aggressive. Jack left the gap and Chiapelli took it. Up into 2nd place he goes.
Well, it's the home of Ayrton Senna if you no longer go for a gap, and that's what Chiapelli has gone for there, and I think he caught Jack by surprise there, to be honest. Jack is a 3rd now. Yeah,
he did, and I don't know how it works with the penalty system on the game. I don't know if it noticed that Jack was nudged before that, because when you go wide there, which Jack did, you do get a warning, and I'm pretty sure he got another warning when he went up the hill into turn 6, so he needs to be very careful. He will be on a fine line between getting a penalty and not, a line that Alex Zaffro has now crossed with a 3 second time penalty, as has Smokey J's as well. But here comes Jack Pearson down the start finish straight in the slipstream behind Chiapelli. Chiapelli also has a slipstream to the car in front and DRS, and that levels it out though, doesn't it, on lap 6 out of 18.
It does indeed, yeah. I was just wondering if Jack might have fancied a bit of a dab bomb there to a bit of payback up for the previous lap. But look, Chiapelli's closing right up on Sam Hickey now. He's absolutely flying off the corner. He's almost caught Sam Hickey by surprise. He's draining the battery and going for the move. Chiapelli smells danger and he's going for the kill here. Whoa, Louis then sliding, and he picks
picks up a 3-second time penalty for his aggressive attempt to try and take a tight hold of this Grand Prix, but he's unable to do it. And Sam Hickman holds the lead, and Chiapelli, for all that effort, has now got a 3-second time penalty, and that will drop him right back down the order.
Nice move by Mike Newton, making his way back through the field on Mr. John. He's now into the top 10. Still not perfect, though, at all for him in this race so far.
Yeah, not perfect. He's got a lot of work to do then, has Mike Newton. Has he been in the pits yet? No, he's not, has he?
No, I don't think he has, no.
So it's a disaster, really. He's just going to try and charge back through the field. Damage limitation from this point on, as Jack Pearson now fancies a little bit of revenge, I feel. Maybe going down into turn 1 here. We're looking at Chiapelli now. We're going to go on board with Jack Pearson. Don't think he's going to be close enough, and he's going to be happy to just sit there and wait it out. But Chiapelli's got some serious ERS issues. He's down at 17% at the minute. Will he try and use that overtake again to get a run on Sam Hickman? Doesn't look like it. He's just going to open that DRS and try and save some battery, and I think that's a wise choice, don't you, Dan?
I do indeed, yeah. The DRS was definitely helping him there with such little ERS in left, which prevented Jack from really making a big move. We've got Dom, the first driver of really the top end to make a pit stop, so we'll see if that works. And we've been undercut, maybe close up on that gap to the top 5.
Yeah, I mean the top 5 do appear to be in a league of their own. The top 3 do. They're all stuck together in a big train. Sam Hickman, Mr. Chiapelli and Jack Pearson all in the line then. What a race this is turning into. I mean, we're not in much battling between the front 3. A few changes of positions, but I'm sure it's just simmering in the pot, ready to boil over. How early do you think, Dan, these guys can get away with a pit stop to try the undercut? Oh! And that's a slide for Chiapelli, and Jack Pearson will be all over the back of him now, surely. DRS and overtake in action, surely, for Jack Pearson. He's going for the undercut. He's coming in now. So the Mercedes mechanics will scatter from the garage and out to service their main man.
Smart decision, I think, from Jack there. Chiapelli, he's done that on a previous lap as well. He's been a little bit all over the place. I'm surprised he didn't pit there. He's got himself another penalty now as well. 6 seconds, and he's right on the back of Sam Hickey again, though. Yeah,
not good for Mr. Chiapelli. Jack Pearson makes his way back out onto the racetrack. Let's have a look up at the front, see how close it is between Sam Hickman and Chiapelli. That's how close it is, but the penalties are beginning to mount up now for Mr. Chiapelli. There you go, 6 seconds for him, 6 seconds for Bossman Sean as well. 3 for Baza, 3 for Mike Noon, 9 for Alex Zappo. He's having a torrid time in that Renault.
Well, even if Dom doesn't make up too much time from the undercut, he's stands to possibly make up positions at the end of the race with these penalties ahead of him.
Yeah, stands to be on the potentially on the podium here in this race, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he does, yeah.
That's incredible from Dom Smith. Not something we'd expect from him in this current era of TGP2, is it? As we go across the start-finish line again, and Sam Hickman and Mr. Chiapelli are going on for another lap, and Sam Hickman feels the need to defend the inside line there. Chiapelli from a long way back has a little look, and no more than a look, as the pit window is now open. Try telling Jack Pearson that he's already out there, and he's in 5 seconds worth of clean air. As you can see on the left-hand side, as Baza is up into third now, with Bossman Sean and Mike Noon in the pits.
It's Chiapelli going for the move for first place at turn 4.
Oh, he's trying his very best. He can't quite do it. Sam Hickman covers the inside line, and Chiapelli is going to come straight back at him up the hill. Is he going to try the outside into turn 6? No, he can't do that. And Sam Hickman holds on for now, but they're just costing each other time and handing this to Jack Pearson on a play, aren't they?
They are indeed, yeah. Angel versus Death has gone for a spin at turn 1. I don't think that should trigger any sort of VSC or safety car. But Jack Pearson, he made the pit stop for a couple laps for Bossman Sean, and he is... he's 1.4 seconds ahead, so we'll see where Jack comes out or fits into the pack once these two pit.
Yeah, and surely they'll be in this lap. They've got to try and cover Jack Pearson, who's, in 4 seconds worth of clean air. He's timed that pit stop to perfection. He's jumped onto the medium tyres at the ideal opportunity, and in they come, as you'd expect. The two race leaders who are racing Jack Pearson flying into the pits. Chiapelli, no way got that slowed down, and there's the confirmation. The penalties mounting up for the AlphaTauri driver. That's now, 5 and 6, 11 seconds worth of penalties. It's going to drop him right down the order in this Grand Prix.
Not good at all there for Chiapelli. That's such a shame. He never went to the back of Sam Hickey there, didn't he? But there we go then. Let's see where Jack Pearson fits in here then. He's had fresh air. Surely he's going to make up a position, isn't he?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Here he comes then through turn 1. He's going to take the longer route round. Those guys are on the inside. It's going to be relatively close, but surely that Mercedes driver will pop out ahead. No, he doesn't. Chiapelli has got the jump. He's ahead of him, but he's got all those penalties. So Jack Pearson, his engineer, needs to let him know that. He needs to know the situation. He doesn't need to go attacking on Mr. Chiapelli here. But on the other side of things, he might want to go attacking, get the move done now, and break away from Sam Hickman. What would you do, Dan?
Yes. Well, I suppose you want to try and get the move done, but Sam Hickman is getting absolutely pounded here by Bossman Sean and Smokey J's out of nowhere. Terrible outlap for Sam Hickman.
He's got damage. He's got damage. Damage to that left-hand side. I don't know if you saw contact between them there. I wasn't watching. Was there contact there?
I don't think, not from what I've seen. You know what he might have done? He might have made some contact with the wall on the pit exit, because I did see one of the drivers get very close, and that, I have a feeling that could be what's happened there. Well, he's dropping right back. Yeah, he's going to have to pit for a brand new front wing, no doubt about that. Although what an opportunity has gone begging here for Sam Hickman to take the lead, or to take his first win in TGP2. Meanwhile, look at this, we've got Smokey J's and Bossman Sean doing battle over 5th place. Hickman into the pits, disaster for him. He's going to be well outside the point. We've got a yellow flag out there. What's that for? Could that bring a safety car? We'll wait and see. Tell you what, Sam Hickman, Mike Noon, they'll be praying for that right now. Don't think it's coming though. Smokey J's all over the back of Bossman Sean, unable to find a way through at the moment. Well, things are looking very good at the moment for Dom, but as you say, Sam Hickey now is now totally out of the picture. Chiapelli's got those huge penalties, so as you say, yeah, he really could be looking at a podium, Dom.
Yeah, he could potentially second place, because the other two people in contention, Bossman Sean and Smokey J's, they get penalties as well.
Yeah, we could be looking at a Mercedes one too, yeah.
Wow! Bossman Sean, 6 seconds worth of penalties. Dom just inside that window by a fraction at the moment, I think. He's not inside the window of Smokey J's yet, so wow, this is going to be very interesting to see how this pans out at the end. Dom Smith just needs to keep his nose clean and put the laps together, keep it tidy, and he's got a genuine chance of a podium here. What a shot that is.
Mr. John has gone 12 laps now on these soft tyres without pitting. Chris Johnson's just pit on the mediums. So it is right now, it's an AlphaTauri 1-2.
Yeah, it will be Mr. John then on a steady run at the minute, looking for some points this afternoon. I mean, I suppose it's worth the punt, isn't it? He's not one of the quicker drivers, Mr. John, so you know what, go out there, hope for a VSC or a full safety car and bring yourself into contention, which is exactly what Chris Johnson did last week. So we'll have to wait and see if he can make it work. I think that's what Chris was trying to do, but realised it was just not going to work out for him. So Chris rejoins. He'll be down in what, 9th place? We'll see how that pans out. But this is going to be interesting. Will the AlphaTauri of Mr. John move aside for his teammate, Dan?
I suspect he probably will. Just seeing Dom move into 6th place on Mike Noon, it was a fairly easy overtake. It almost was a little bit like Mike Noon sort of just let him through there. Although to be fair, he is still pressuring him for the position to get it back, even though Mike Noon had those penalties. Oh, he almost had the Albon Hamilton moment there.
Yeah, despite the disaster for Mike Noon.
Oh!
What's happened?
So one of the McLarens has gone flying off the track so much. He went flying off the track so far off the track, it actually reset him back onto the track. He went totally left field, and now he's in the field, and he's right in the back. Okay. Mr. John finally pits.
Mr. John then finally makes his pit stop, and we'll see how that pans out for him. Dom Smith, where's he at the minute? Baza, look at that. Baza has got ahead of Mike Noon, up into 6th place. So the Red Bulls have been doing battle, and Baza's made the move, and this could potentially be for podium places here with the penalties we've got in front of this. Dom Smith, the only man out of that group without a penalty, and his teammate Jack Pearson, who's on for the victory here. Dom Smith trying to hold these guys up, and if he can do that, he should get the podium.
He should, yeah. So it's the two Mercedes, 2nd and 5th, who don't have penalties. Then you've got the 2 Ferraris, 8th and 9th, who don't have any penalties so far.
Mike Noon, big moment there. Sorry, Dan, just went a little bit wide, and that'll be another warning. They're mounting up for him. He just needs to keep his head here. There's a good chance of points, of a lot of points as well as that.
Indeed, yeah. It's going to get very close, I think, between the Red Bulls once again down this straight. Although Basil will have DRS, I'm guessing, on to get Dom for 5th. Yeah, almost certainly will. Jack is 6/10 now behind Luca. Is he going to go for an attack at this time? He knows he doesn't have to, of course.
Yeah, especially with Sam Hickman now at the picture. It'll be interesting to see if he does go for it. There's no need for it. And at the minute, I don't think he's got any interest in going for it. It's a much more mature, measured approach from Jack Pearson this season so far, isn't it, Dan?
It is, yeah, I would agree with that. Still hasn't got a penalty as well after 14 laps, which last season...
like him.
Yeah, that was very, very rare to see.
Oh, here we go then. Baza on. Dom Smith had a little look from out behind him and decided to duck back in last minute, trying to catch Dom Smith off guard in his mirrors, but it wasn't to be for Baza. And Dom Smith beginning to hold this lot up now in a bit of a train. And we all know Chris Johnson does it at the time penalty, and we also know he's now on the fresher soft tyres, and he's going to be a man on the move and a man threatening to take the podium spot, isn't he?
He is indeed, yeah. It's the two Red Bulls with these 3-second penalties. Say Sports has now got a penalty as well, so Chris Johnson, yeah, as you say, is also possibly in a prime position. I thought I'd just seen rain on the screen there, but I don't think it was. It'd be quite incredible if it was, but let's see if Chris Johnson can make up some more positions then. Even if it was to stay like this, he would be 6th.
Well, let's see then as they climb up the hill. It's going to be very difficult for him, isn't it? It's just not very easy to get through the field when there's so much slipstream and DRS and ERS being used directly in front of you by the other cars to the cars ahead. So what you find is you get yourself stuck in a DRS train, as they call it, and you find it very difficult even when you've got a pace advantage, because you're just no quicker down the straights. And by the way, speaking of quick down the straights, Baza is, and he's now attacking Dom Smith. Will he go for the inside this time, the Welshman? The Red Bull against the Silver Arrow, and the Red Bull comes out on top, gets the move done. Dom Smith tries to duck back underneath him, but he cannot do that, and Baza climbs up into 5th place with a tidy move.
Lovely stuff. We've seen some great moves at turn 4 in this race so far today. Oh, the other Red Bull!
Wow. That's brilliant from Mike Noonan. He's got it and made it stick. What a move that was from Mike Noonan. We know he likes the emphatic manoeuvres, and that's certainly one of them. Diving down the inside. Dom Smith had no option but to just jump out of the way, and that was Daniel Ricciardo-esque from Mike Noonan. He's up into 6th place and now can start attacking his teammate, and now Dom is playing to Chris Johnson. Yeah,
Chris Johnson almost managed to sneak through as well at the same time, but just couldn't manage it. But he might have a run here, of course, although Dom will also have DRS.
He's flying.
Half a second still separating top 2.
Here comes Chris Johnson on Dom Smith. Is he going to get the move done into turn 1? Looks like he's going to try it into the braking zone. Is he through? Cameras are awful. Yes, he is through.
Yes.
And up into 7th place. Good job there from Chris Johnson, and you've got to fancy him on those Red Bulls now, don't you?
Yeah, I think because he's probably looking at a 5th place at the minute. I don't think he's close enough with the Smoky J's. Or is he close enough? I think he might be, actually. He would be close enough for Smoky J's to get 4th place at this stage.
Interesting. So Chris Johnson really driving a fantastic race, isn't he? You know, at the start we weren't too sure. Was he just hoping for a virtual safety car? But no, he's played a blinder here. He's went onto those soft compound tyres and kept his nose clean. No penalties like Dom and Jack, and finds himself with a potential podium chance here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chiapelli with those 11 seconds of penalties, at the minute he would probably be, I think he would be around about 3rd. He might still just keep the podium because of the 6 seconds of the other guys. It's going to be very close.
Yeah, but Chris is threatening to take that off him as well. I mean, it's 12.1 to Chris Johnson from Chiapelli. If he can get ahead of these Red Bulls, he's going to be inside that, isn't he?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I thought the Mercedes was about to go into the back of Chris Johnson there, but it was just a bit of lag on the screen. Chris Johnson, is he going to fancy having a go here? No, it's certainly not worth that far back.
It's going to be interesting to see if he can get his way through, because he might not be aware, obviously, of the full picture. Certainly the cars in front of him, he might be aware of the penalty situation, but if he can get himself ahead of them, he's got a chance of getting ahead of Chiapelli too. But he's really pushing hard. You can see him, he ran wide into the exit of turn 1 into turn 2, and he might be close to a warning now, a penalty now, and he might just want to go, you know what, I'll just take what I've got, and that'll be enough. But we'll see.
And Bossman Sean is now on 9 seconds worth of penalties, so he is almost certainly going to go right down here.
Yeah, well, my name's not Einstein. I'm not going to try and figure out who's going to be where. We'll just wait and see as it comes across the line. But we have a rough idea that Chris Johnson is going to be climbing up quite a number of places here. And we also know that Jack Pearson is going to win this race. Mr. Chiapelli, 2 major corner cut penalties with 6 seconds, then sped into the pits. That makes 11. And Mr. Chiapelli going to drop right down the order as a result of that. And that's a real shame for him, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So Chris Johnson is easily going to get these 2 Red Bulls across the line. Smoky J's as well, I think he will get, as long as he doesn't get a penalty on this lap. I think you're looking at a 4th, and can he maybe challenge Luca, get within 11 seconds for the podium?
Yeah, it's going to be really close. Let's have a look at the interval again. The gap to the leader, Chris Johnson 13.3. So he's not going to be inside near as Dom Smith without penalties, but they should jump ahead of the bulk of the cars in front of them. Certainly ahead of Bossman Sean, you would think. But we'll wait and see then.
That's true.
as they come round the final corner, and a bit like the opening round of the season, it's not going to be the van that crosses the line first that's going to win the race. Mr. Chiapelli comes across the line first, but he's got too many penalties, so that means that Jack Pearson will win in Brazil. It's a fantastic win for the Mercedes driver. Kept his nose clean, and he takes the victory. Postman Sean's third for the moment. That's about to all change, I feel. Smokey Chase on in the back. Mingo's lost it. He's lost it on the start finish line, and he's crashed. He tried to weave over the line for a lap, and he's went and binned about 10 points. What's he thinking? What was he thinking? It's ludicrous.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Just yards from the finish line. How crucial could that be? It's only round 3 of the season, but every point counts. And when we look at the final points tally at the end of this season, I wonder how much you'll regret that moment.
That's ridiculous. It's absolutely unforgivable. The Red Bull team are on the pit wall, looking at each other in disgust. Adrian Newey and Christian Horner are furious. I'm almost repeating quotes from my first ever TGP1 commentary, aren't I, Dan?
Yeah. I think it pretty much sums up Mike Noon's race really, and around Brazil and the qualifying as well, with all the lap invalidations and everything like that. So, well, Jack will absolutely love that. 14 points behind he was from Mike Noon in the championship. It will not be that anymore. Big swing.
Big swing indeed. Mike Noon, what an absolute disaster that is. Jack Pearson, what a mature, solid, strong drive that was from him. I'm very impressed, Dan. I would have to say, a performance like that in TGP1 would have gotten a hatful of points, no penalties or nothing.
Yeah, very true indeed.
And that just continues my point about why he should be in TGP1. Go on, Dom, stick in the TGP1. Well, that rounds it all, I think. What a great victory that is for Jack Pearson, and he comes home a race winner. And did that Alpha Tauri of Mr. Chiapelli end up second with Bossman Sean third after all that, which is quite incredible, isn't it? So
it did, yeah.
How that panned out, I mean, that shows you how good we are at maths, trying to figure it all out. But there you go, the game can figure it out for us. It's Jack Pearson who wins here in Brazil with fine performance, pole to the victory, lost it at the start, but he's fought back well to take that win. Mr. Chiapelli follows up a good start last time out in the championship with second, those penalties costing him dear. Bossman Sean ends up coming home in third. Chris Johnson, great recovery drive, well, not recovery, just great run through the field from 11th to 4th. Dom Smith, solid enough with 5th, a little bit more pace, and there could have been more in the tank for him. Smokey Jays ends the race in 6th with Baza in 7th. Sear Sports and the other Ferrari comes home in 8th with Mr. John. Great effort from him to get points in 9th, and Neil Jack in 10th. Just outside the points, Alex Zaffro in 11th, Sam Hickman, what might have been for him, in 12th. Indecisive 13th, Chris 14th, Angel versus Death 15th, 16th Shep, 17th Mike Noon with that absolute horror show on the run to the line. Blair Grills and Sir Tom Penguin complete the classification. So, Adrian Newey, Christian Horner, disgusted in the pit wall. Dan, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I can't say I blame them at all. Christian Horner's many post-race Sky interviews will be interesting in that scenario. I really don't know why he would do that. I mean, would you even really want to weave to celebrate a 5th, 6th place finish anyway? Very strange. It's
very strange. I mean, I suppose we'll need to have a chat with Mike Noon at some point and figure out what the thinking was behind it. But it's a complete shambles, and it's cost him a lot of points, and a lot of points you don't want to be dropping in a TGP season that can be hectic, dramatic and wild.
Yeah, we've got Jack Pearson, will be on 55 points now, and Luca will be on 48 in 2nd place. Mike Noon, I think he might still pick up a couple of points, I'm not sure, but he's on 44 at the minute coming into this anyway, so he's certainly not going to be leading the championship going into this Japanese Grand Prix. Chris Johnson will have moved up the order as well, of course, and well, Sam Hickey, what a shame, he had such promise in qualifying in the early stages of the race, but I'm pretty sure he might have just made some light contact with the barrier on the pit exit, which basically ruined his afternoon.
Yeah, it could have been that. It's a fair point. If you did catch that, that's eagle-eyed stuff from my co-commentator Dan the Man. We'll have to find out, I suppose, after the race if that is indeed what happened. And it's a sore one for him because he's got pace, hasn't he? He's joined the league and he's showing some fine pace. And that first one can't be far away, can it?
Surely not. Surely not. If he can show that pace again round here in Japan, it could come in just a few minutes. Of course, looking forward to this one. He had an amazing qualifying session in Japan yesterday. Hopefully, we're about to see the same here. I wonder if we'll see similar conditions.
Yeah, well, I wonder if we will. I mean, but let's talk about the track then briefly as we get ready to go again. It really is a challenge on this game, isn't it? I mean, you've seen me many a times, Dan, try and practice, and this is why I commentate now. The back end, getting a setup around that first sector that stops the back end from stepping out, is so difficult, isn't it?
It is, but I absolutely love it. I think the two tracks on the entire F1 calendar where it feels so satisfying when you get a perfect lap would be, for me, Monaco and Suzuka. It's just when you nail it, it really is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's very difficult, of course.
Yeah, it's got to be up there. It's one of, you know, when you're ever asked to put together your favourite sectors, put your favourite sector from anywhere on the calendar, a lot of people would say Suzuka Sector 1, wouldn't they? It's just so fast, so flowing, so unforgiving. You run wide, you're in the gravel. There's no returning to the racetrack over AstroTurf or over some tarmac, is there? It's proper gravel track, proper old school. You know, as a Formula 1 geek like myself, Dan, you'll remember that 2009 session, I think it was, where I think we had four red flags or something. We had so many cars in the wall. It just shows you how unforgiving it can be.
And then the entire grid was pretty much changed afterwards with penalties and all stuff like that. It was a crazy, crazy session. And, well, it is sunny, so they're not going to have to cope with any rain in this qualifying session. They can go for it at the lap time. But you talk about those S's and how difficult they are. It's that on this game specifically, the first part, the very first part, the first left-hander on the S's, it's really strange. Like, it's so easy to lose the car there, more than on any previous game around this track.
It's almost certain that we're going to see someone lose it there, Dan, isn't it?
I would put money on it. It's surely going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
And can't say really that I blame them if it does happen, because it's so easy to do. Could even happen on one of the outlaps. I think it happened last season in TTP1. I can't remember who it was. I think someone dropped it on the outlap at that very corner. And we saw Camille Babo crash there yesterday in TTP1 as well.
Yeah, well, here it is then. This is the corner now, Bossman Sean. This left-hander here that he was going through, the car just seems to go light, doesn't it? I mean, through turns 1 and 2, you're fine, and you fling it into turn 3. If you're on that cardboard, you're just a little bit too quick. The car, it's just like you push it around with your finger, and it just swaps it on you. And generally speaking, because it's so unforgiving, the barriers are so close, the gravel doesn't slow you down enough, you will lose a wheel in that wall, wouldn't you?
Yeah, almost certainly. If you go off there, you will be in the wall. But it's. I mean, it's like that with a lot of corners around here. But that is certainly where it would be the easiest to drop it. I would say sometimes maybe at the Dunlop, if you try and take too much speed through Dunlop, it can be very easy to just let the car go, and maybe if it takes too much speed into the Degners, as Kovalainen did in that 2009 session.
Mm-hmm.
It's I just absolutely love this circuit. Love absolutely everything about it.
Yeah, it's such a challenge. Probably too much of a challenge for a commentator like myself. I think I showed that last night with a retirement from P16. But who wants to know about my awful race? Let's hope we have a cracker here as Bossman Sean is about to start a flying lap. Let's go on board with him then for a hot lap around this wonderful circuit, and we'll just talk through it. I'm not going to go full flow commentary across the start finish line to begin. Then 18 turns around this racetrack, turn 1 and 2. It's like one mega loop, isn't it? Into the first apex, then you've got to carry momentum in here, don't you, Dan? Just run out on the exit.
You do indeed. Yeah, we were talking about the S's, and Shepard just lost it. He's back going again. He did not destroy his vehicle, so he's still in this quali session. There we go. He's making his way now through Dunlop, Bossman Sean. There we go.
There it is, there. Yeah.
That little twitch. But yeah, he got away with it.
He sure did. Now into Dignal 1.
That's an extension. That's an extension. Yeah.
But it's again, Dignal 1 on this game, you can carry so much more speed than on any other game, can't you? Through that first Dignal.
You can almost take it flat out and just about get away with it. But if you take too much curb and have all 4 wheels off the track, it will be an invalidation, as you've just seen there with Bossman Short.
Yeah, and up into spoon curve now. That's left-hander. Oh goodness me, that's what you call understeer. Didn't quite work for Bossman Sean through the spoon curve. He won't be too bothered though. He's ruined that lap anyway. But you know, you do see overtakes as well running up into Spoon, don't you? A lot of people like to use the ERS up on the exit of the hairpin and slingshot alongside into Spoon. So we could see some action there, as well as down here at the end of this straight into the Casio Triangle, as it's called, or the chicane. And through there goes Bossman Sean and up to the line, into the pits.
We also had Smokey J's getting invalidation on his lap as well, and he is pitted, as has Bossman Sean. So I'm not sure who's going to be the first driver to actually cross the line and set a lap here.
Well, let's see if we can find someone. Sam Hickman is out there. I don't think he'll be the first to see the flag. Surely there's someone further round.
I think it's going to be Joe Sayer. There we go. He's just coming through the final chicane now.
Reliable Joe.
Yep. He's going to set the benchmark on 29.3.
Not the most blistering effort, but it's a time nonetheless from Joe Sayer. I mean, what were the times? What kind of time would you expect then from the top guys in TGP2 here?
I think you're probably looking at a 126, low 120, mid 126 maybe for TGP2. The pole lap yesterday was a 25.9, I think, but I'm not sure if the track was entirely dry at that point. So probably something in the 126s would be the pole lap. That would be my guesstimation anyway at this stage.
Yeah, it was some qualifying session yesterday, wasn't it? It was a bit wild, to say the least. The changeable conditions. Even I had a spell at the top of the timesheets, for goodness sake, and that says something. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, he had a gap of over a second at one stage in the leaders. I was about to say Mike Nguyen almost had a second gap over Dom, but then look at that, Sam Hickey puts a lap in, just 4 thousandths off. Yeah,
good effort there. The first serious lap times, we expect something in the 26s, mid to high 26s perhaps. Oh, there you go, there's someone doing it. We said someone might, that was one of the Williamses, that was Chris Thurgood going off at the very corner. We said we might see someone. Now all I'm going to ask you, Dan, is did you put money on? As we've got
I didn't. One of the McLarens has also gone off on the next bit, but he did not destroy his car though, crucially, Chris Thurgood. Well, he's got damage, but he's not out the session.
Yeah, so are you saying as a bookmaker you wouldn't pay that
out? No, I think I would pay it out. Still had the car go off there, but maybe I'm just too kind.
So, fair enough. I'm sure Bet365's like, they'll take your money at every opportunity.
Yeah, I don't think Bet Noon would have.
Oh, of course, Bet Noon. What's the Bet Noon odds for tonight? How can we forget about Bet Noon, for goodness sake? Silly me. I'm talking about Bet365 and we've got Bet Noon out there, for goodness sake. Anyway, Sam Hickman going for another lap, it would seem.
Oh, and Luke has lost it. Luke has also gone off. They're all going off with these S's.
Same corner?
And he's I think it's a bit further on. It is a bit further on, yeah, as he rejoins the track. So that's his lap in the pan for the time being.
Oh, he's lost it again! He's lost it again! Unbelievable!
Wow.
Up through Dunlop and he's lost it again. Obviously they're not getting the tyres up to temperature, just got going again and just spun round it like a top straight away. Unbelievable.
Reminds me of Verstappen in Turkey last season, although that was a very, very slippery track. We've got Smokey J's will be coming right up on Chiapelli now, anytime soon, as he's just starting the lap. See where he can go in the field.
Purple through sector 1, so it says. I'm not sure how reliable that is, but there you go. Smokey J's flying at the minute as he goes into that hairpin, where you can also see a move if you're cheeky enough, if you're like Mike Noon, if you're like myself and you like to go for a dive bomb, then certainly a corner you can make a move. And again, as I mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, you can make a move into Spoon if you use a lot of your ERS up and catch your opponent out, as Smokey J's makes his way really smooth through that Spoon curve, almost effortless in his driving. Target lap time 1 minute 27.264 by Mike Noon. What's Smokey J's going to do through the second sector? 111.147 up to that point. Let's see how it shapes up as he makes his way round the final chicane, and then that right hander towards the line. Shortest route to the line is probably the preferred option. Smokey J's not too tight on this occasion, crosses the line 1 minute 27.6, and he goes for quickest, Dan the man.
So it's still very close though, still with the top three, look, less than a tenth separating them once again. Of course, this is a much longer circuit than Brazil. Its lap times are going to be 20 seconds, pretty much slower or longer than in Brazil. And still we've got a very close field.
We sure do. Very close field. And Mike Noon still just a fraction ahead of Sam Hickman after those opening runs. We've got half the session almost done, 9 minutes to go, 9.5 minutes. Neil Jack out there at the minute, having a bit of a moment there going through 130R. Who else we got out there in the quick laps? Chris Johnson is on one at the minute then in the Ferrari, making his way up the hill through the S's. Yes, Dan?
Got Bazette on medium tyres. I think he's going to be the next significant crowd across the line. I think it says he's gone purple in sector 2, but I doubt it. He's on the medium tyres, of course, so I'm sure he'll set another lap in a moment on the softs. We'll see if he makes his way around and completes this lap, though.
Very tight, that's what we like to see from Bazza. Tight to the inside, takes the shortest route, goes 8th quickest in a 1 minute 28.8. But I'm sure there's a lot more time in his pocket still to come, isn't there?
Oh, for sure, yeah. He was on the medium tyres for that lap. Was he the only driver on the medium tyres? Luca is also on the medium tyres right now. And so is Alex Zaffro as well.
Let's see if we can pick one of them up then on a hot lap. Let's see if Zaffro's on one. Chris Johnson's bailed out of that lap.
Oh, Bossman Sean has lost it at the S's. I thought he was going to destroy his car there for a moment, but he sort of managed to angle the car so it basically just avoided really hitting any of the tyres or anything like that and causing a damaged vehicle, so he will get away with it. But it still hasn't got a lap in Bossman Sean with 8 minutes to go.
Not going well for him. Sam Hickman's abandoned his latest lap, it would seem. He's going slowly. And what about Mike Noon? He's on one and he's finding time through the first sector. 1 3/4 tenths, in fact, is what he's finding through the first sector. Is he going to be the first man to dip into the 1 minute 26s and lay a marker here in round number 4 here in Suzuka, Japan? The Red Bull charging with the Honda engine and its home circuit. What has Mike Noon got up his sleeve, Dan?
He's looking very, very quick, isn't he? He is on it. He knows he needs to bounce back after those poor scenes for him in Brazil. As he goes through Spoon, and he's got that hooked up. That is perfect. That looks wonderful. Now he can enjoy the ride to 130R.
The Red Bull is rampant. Here comes Mike Noon then up the hill. Oh, he's absolutely flying. 3 3/4 tenths up now in his best. This is easily going to be into the 1 minute 26s, and he's about to lay down the gauntlet to his rivals. It was a poor showing in Brazil. It was a bit of an embarrassment, in fact, but this is much more like it from Mike Noon up to the line. 1 minute 26.8. He's a mile clear, almost half a second clear of, in fact, and that is a big statement from the Red Bull driver at Honda's home circuit.
Yeah, huge lap for Mike Noon. Jack Pearson's on the lap, but he was just a fraction off as quick as sector 1, so not the best sector 1 for him at the moment. He's going to obviously finish the lap. Oh, look how much curb he was taking there into Spoon, but he got away with it on this occasion.
He's pushing hard as Jack Pearson. He's absolutely wringing the neck out that Mercedes, but the pace at the minute just doesn't seem to be there, does it? 1 minute 10.9 for the middle sector. What's he got in the final part of the lap? Is he going to be able to move himself up ahead of Sam Hickman? Surely at the very least that'll be his target. He's running it in deep into the first part of the chicane. That's messy, and he's going to come up to the line. Is he going to improve at all? I doubt it. Here he comes. No,
he's here. You have to make contact with that curb, the first part of the curb, first in that chicane, unless you really just can say goodbye to the lap. That can destroy it right there, and he went too wide and lost a huge amount of time.
Yeah, it's important. You just need to carry the momentum, don't you? You don't do that by going, why, the Smokey J has lost it! He's in the wall! Front wing gone on the exit of turn 2. Not somewhere you see someone crashing with the S's coming up, but he's managed to lose it, rip the front wing off it, and that's a big shunt for him. And he will, luckily for him, carry on his merry way and will get the lap. He will be able to do another lap before the end of the session. How many drivers have been in the gravel trap and in the barrier and got away with it so far, Dan? Goodness me.
Well, it's unbelievable. I can't believe we've got Alex Zaffro out at the minute. I'm not sure, did he crash or did he retire? But it's amazing, really. It's only one car, I've got to say. But just shows how much they're all pushing and all determined to improve and get up that field.
Yeah, they sure are. So Jack Pearson on an in lap, Sam Hickman on an out lap, Mike Noon in the pits, Smokey G's in the barrier. Sayre Sports, Joe Sayre up in 5th place. That's astounding, that stuff. That's brilliant from the Ferrari driver. Where's this coming from?
I'm not sure really, but I think I'm pretty sure he's a fan of this track as well. We've got Luca as well. It's just behind Sayre Sports on the road as well, and he's still on the medium tyres, Luca. So I'm not sure. Once he puts softs on, he could be right up there as well, of course.
Jose looking for time in that middle sector, just a tenth and a bit down on his previous best, annoyingly for him. What's he got in the final sector? Oh, he's missed that curb then, and you know what that means? That means it's going to be a sorry end to the lap, and in fact, because of that, he bails out and dives into the pits. But you've got to say, I'm very impressed with Jose and Dom Smith tonight. I mean, in a field that has got much more competitive from back in the early days when I was commentating on it, they seem to be still holding their own all these years on, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah, but that's what we like to see. We like to see the old guard still...
yeah, that's it. Us.
Yeah, very, very soon approaching 10 year anniversary, of course, of TGP. TGP2 started a little bit later, but I find it absolutely incredible. It's been 10 years.
You're making me feel far too old, Dan. Far too old.
Yeah, it's depressing, isn't it?
Oh, great. Sorry for the exciting commentary. We're not too downbeat here. That's just Dan. Apologies, folks. As Sam Hickman starts a flying lap then through turns 1 and 2, with his fan base following him all the way then, pushing him on to try and find that extra few tenths of a second in that Haas to try and get pole position. It was front row last time, wasn't enough for pole, but he did get that lead off the start. He's currently second at the minute, but it is a bucket load of time he needs to find to beat Mike Noon here today, and he's not finding it through that first sector. 1.5 tenths down on his previous best. Not happening, is it, Dan?
It's just not happening at all now. The graphic just said, by the way, Dom has just gone purple in sector 1. I'm not sure if that was a legitimate graphic that appeared, but he was certainly up on his previous lap anyway, as he's making his way around Spoon now for 6th place to see if he can possibly maybe can he trouble those mid 127s, maybe slot in between Jack and Smokey J's. We'll see.
He's 3 tenths up on his best, so this is a potential move ahead of Jose, or potentially Smokey J's if it's a wild final sector. Get to that curb, Dom, get to it. He does get to it. This is a chance then to move up the order for Dom Smith, currently 6th quickest, should displace his old rival Jose, and he does do that, and is a tenth away from ending up on the front 2 rows. Fine effort from Dom Smith, who's had a solid start to the season, hasn't he?
He did indeed, yeah. I really wish he took that tighter land though there through the final corner. I mean, it wouldn't have gained you the most incredible amount of time, but still, every millisecond is important, of course. But maybe he'll do that again if he's got enough fuel to go for another lap. I don't think he can. No, he certainly can't pit at this stage.
Yeah, fractional improvement, by the way, from Sam Hickman. Not really enough. Half a quarter of a tenth really was all he managed to improve by. So not ideal for him. That will leave him prey to Jack Pearson. I just don't think he's got the raw speed round here, I don't think, to really challenge Mike Noon, because that is some serious pace, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering maybe if he will do one more lap. Don't really want to be using up your tyres too much, I suppose.
He's saving the ERS, so I think he is going to try to. So we'll have to wait and see. Mike Noon on an outlap, Jack Pearson's on one as well, as is Smokey J's. I think we'll watch Smokey J's first, because he's going to be starting his just ahead of Jack Pearson on the road. So we'll keep an eye on this then. This will be the final lap of the session for Smokey J's and Jack Pearson. They're going to be the first to see the checkered flag when that timer ticks to 0. So Smokey J's then starts one with Jack Pearson right behind him. Then the run down to turn 1. Is there anyone that can do anything about that searing pace set by Mike Noon? It's going to be a tall order, but if there's anyone that can, it's Jack Pearson or Smokey J's.
It absolutely is, yeah. I remember Smokey J's last season where he was raced the first couple of weeks and he was so dominant. I think he had the lead, didn't he? But he couldn't race the rest of the season. He will want to seriously make a comeback this season and take the title. Let's see, 31.4. Oh, he's invalidated! He's invalidated!
Oh, what a shame, because he was absolutely flying in that first sector. 4 tenths he found, and he's flung it all away, and he will not be any higher than 4th, and Jack Pearson's done it as well. Wow.
Yeah, Jack also as well, yeah.
And Sam Hickman is in the pits, and this is almost certainly in the bag for Mike Noon now, isn't it?
Probably, yeah. I think you have to say, most likely is. Say Sports come around the final corner, but he's not going to improve. I think he was up in the second sector, I think, so he must have made an error late on the lap.
He's going again. He'll need to find some amount of time. Dom Smith in the garage, so he won't be improving. What about Chiapelli? Can't forget him. He's going to put on a set of softs now, so he's probably the only man within realistic expectation to perhaps do it. So let's see what Chiapelli can do it. No, he's time's up. He's still going to do it. Time's up as well. So he's 7th.
So did he misjudge that? I think, did he try and leave the pit lane as late as possible, and he's missed the line?
Yeah, and not only that, it means he starts on the mediums unless he gets knocked out the top 10. Disaster!
Well, I have to say, I was, I suppose, in a weird way, that could actually work out quite well for him if he gets a good strategy in the race, but certainly if he gets any sort of early safety car, that would be an absolute disaster for Luca. But so Sam Hickey, we thought he was possibly going to lose a few positions, finishing as qualifying so early, but it looks like he's going to get away with it.
It's back-to-back front rows for Sam Hickman, but it's pole position for Mike Noon, who comes around the final corner, and he's not even going to go quicker. He knows it's in the bag. He was just putting a heat cycle through those, and that was a classy performance after an idiotic finish in Brazil. He's regained a bit of pride there, and that's a pretty stunning effort.
Sorry, Andy. I was just watching Bazza on his last lap, and he was up, but then he made an error at this final chicane. He went off and lost a load of time, and he's decided to pit instead. So it's Chris Johnson coming around the final corner. Can he make any improvements? I think he's just gone to 7th.
Yeah,
and
7th.
His teammates.
Joe Sayer also found a little bit of time, but not enough to move up a place. He's 6th. So perhaps that little improvement from Joe Sayer just before Chris Johnson crossed the line might have just gave him enough of an edge to break clear and ensure that 6th place. But there is your final results from qualifying. I mean, it was all building up to a frenetic finish, but it was a bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it? They all fell away at the end, and it was Mike Noon with that earlier effort, the 1 minute 26.8, that pretty much destroyed them, didn't it? What a gap that is over Sam Hickman in second, who gets back-to-back front rows from the opening 4 races. Jack Pearson starts in 3rd place, who is currently the championship leader after that last round. He'll be looking to try and better that. Smokey J is 4th, Dom Smith a solid effort in 5th of Sayer Sports in 6th. Chris Johnson is 7th with Chiapelli 8th, Angel vs Def a solid 9th, and Bazza rounds out the top 10 also on the medium tyre. So interesting to see a split of strategies there. Do you think that maybe suggests rain later on in the race?
I suppose it's a possibility, yeah. I'm not entirely sure about the weather forecast of this race, but yeah, that's a good point. I forgot all about that. I wonder if we'll possibly get a bit of rain in this race. It certainly looks sunny enough there. But yeah, as you say, we will have Luca and Bazza starting this race on the mediums, and they are in the top 10. Yeah,
so there's no doubt about it. They're locked into that. Of course, remember, folks, if you're not too keen on the rules or aware of the rules in the game, top 10 must start on the tyres they qualified on, and that is the case for those two. They started on medium. They qualified on mediums, so they'll start on them. Everyone outside the top 10 can pick any tyre they like. Hards,
just
mediums, softs.
Very quickly, Andy, just very, very quickly, just having a look here, and Jack Hickman has said in that he believes there's rain predicted towards the end of the race.
Wow.
Let's see if that materialises.
Wow, and what an early safety car would do to help some of those guys on mediums. It would bring it a little bit sooner. Anyway, the 5 red lights are coming on for round 4 of the championship. We are racing in Suzuka. It's a great start for Mike Noon. He will cover off Sam Hickman in the road to turn 1 and should lead. And he will lead into that first corner. Jack Pearson sweeping round the outside of the Haas driver and moves up into second place with a tidy move. Smokey J still runs in 4th with Tom Smith in 5th as they make their way up the hill through the S's for the first time. It's Mike Noon from Jack Pearson and Sam Hickman. Smokey G's in 4th. It looks like it's all clean and tidy. I think we've got an incident, have we? Further down, maybe? No. We're all clean, and away we go. Tom Smith 5th, Sayer Sports and Chris Johnson 6th and 7th.
Yeah, fair play to them all. It was a very, very clean start. Bit of instance in the back there, just we say that with the 2 McLarens. Some Shepherd's gone off. But Jack Pearson obviously got the best start out of the front guys, and he made the position. The only one really to significantly make a place in those top 10 positions. You've got Neljak made the position as well up to 10th. But Jack Pearson really is the guy who took the advantage of that race start. Mike Noon, though, kept his lead, and 7/10 is the gap.
Yeah, very, very good start then for Mike Noon. It's exactly what he wanted. He was looking for a much cleaner race. Jack with a tidy move on Sam Hickman. He had him pinched on the inside, got that move done. Dale Jack also up 1 place, up 4 for Mr. John and Chris, with so many cars down towards the rear having mishaps. Busman, Sean and
Smokey J's here.
Oh, he's going for it. Oh, that's so close from Smokey J's as he battles with Sam Hickman. He's going to triangle around the outside of him, no way through there, but Smokey J's with the bit between his teeth in the opening lap of this Grand Prix and determined to get a move done. That's the Danish driver, the Viking on the attack then. Sam Hickman defends the pit wall. He switches to the outside last minute to Smokey J's and sweeps past him. What a move that was from Smokey J's. I was on the edge of my seat. How late was was that to duck out from behind Sam Hickman? Breathe as you like and up into third place, Dan. Wow.
Bold stuff from Smokey J is absolutely fantastic, and he is in the podium positions, and Sam Hickey is just being caught out there. That is an absolutely fantastic move.
Wow, on the edge of the seat stuff there, and he's through and up a place. Neiljack, meanwhile, very close with Baza in that middle part of the lap. Let's have a look at those guys battling the midfield, all in a scrap as Mike Noon tries to break that DRS zone, and there they are on the fringes of the top 10, and just inside in the case of Neiljack, all battling. You've got Baza, Neiljack, Angel versus Death, and Alex Zaffro. Let's go on board with Alex Zaffro. He's having a little look at Angel versus Death, thinking about it up the inside, not close enough for the Renault driver, and Angel versus Death is a little slide, goes wide, and you'll lose a bucket load of places, and Zaffro climbs up into 11th.
Chris Johnson almost went into the back of his teammate there, Say Sports, at the hairpin there, but just got away with it. Well, he's gone wide there, has he? And Chiapelli has made the position into 7th place because the result that was lag.
And yeah, there's a lot of lag going on, you're absolutely right. I'm just picked it up now. Chris Johnson still ahead then, just about, of Mr. Chiapelli on the road. Meanwhile, behind that, it's just really difficult to make out what's going on with that lag, isn't it? So we'll just ignore that for now. Chris Johnson, has he disconnected from the lobby, or is he still there?
I don't think so. I think he's still there, but it's although he has now lost a load of positions, so perhaps he has.
We'll have to wait and see. Alex Zaffro then moves into the top 10 as a result, and is looking for some World Championship points. Mr. John now ahead of Chris Johnson as well, but meanwhile back at the front, Jack Pearson looked like he was about to drop out with a second. Not the case. Back to within 6 or 7 tenths, so either a Mike Noon mistake or a Jack Pearson revival.
Yeah, well, let's see then if Mike Noon can break it with it. Obviously DRS is now enabled, although really this is one of the tracks where DRS is not the biggest effect in the world.
Oh God, can't Smokey J's! He's off the track at Dunlop! I don't believe it! Smokey J's is in the kitty litter down at Dunlop. I don't know what's happened. Perhaps lost the rear end going through that uphill left-hander, and he's throwing away a chance of a strong result. Down he goes into 16th place. Disaster for the Danish driver.
0 to 0 stop. Then we saw him make that amazing move just a lap ago on Sam Hickey, and then now he just goes off at Dunlop, and Sam is back in that 3rd place. Smokey J's down in 16th, and well, he's going to need some sort of miracle now. He
sure is. Blair Grouse, by the way, started this race on the hard compound tyre. That is brave, it has to be said. So yeah. So that's an interesting tyre choice from him. Just making sure
well,
he's not
maybe,
stopped.
I suppose if they're anticipating rain at the end, maybe he's just thought I'll go on hards and just wait for the rain. Better option maybe than the medium, just could go earlier, but I think really that's too hard a tyre to start the race on, in all honesty. Yep,
we'll have to see how it pans out. Joe Sayre, by the way, very close to Tom Smith. Those two very close on pace. The two stalwarts of the TGP2 series. At the minute, it's Dom ahead of Joe, 4th and 5th between those two.
Jack Pearson's got the gap down even further now, half a second now between the top two, although just as I say that, I'm going to start to pull it out again. Obviously, maybe Jack getting caught a little bit in the dirty air through these S's.
Yeah, but he's certainly gained though, even still. I mean, I saw it go up to a second on that last lap at that point of the lap. It's only went up to 7 tenths here, so Jack certainly showing that he's got some really good race pace. Maybe didn't hook the lap up in qualifying, certainly finding the pace in the race, and these two beginning to show that they might be the two battling for this championship this season, with maybe a little sprinkle of Sam Hickman and Mr. Chiapelli in between.
Get very close there for 8th place with Bazza and Alex Zaffro. In fact, Bazza's got a bit wide. Oh, Alex Zaffro nearly went for it there, and he very nearly made contact, but for now it stays as they were in 8th and 9th place.
Yeah, quite the battle going on. I'm glad you picked that one up, because it is very, very interesting between these guys, and Alex Zaffro in that Renault, a Renault that Red Bull Kim says don't get one, and he's going to go on the attack then. Here we go. Chiapelli just in front of that, I think, very close to Sales Sports, and we're going to keep an eye on that for now. Thinks about it up the inside, does Chiapelli, can't do that. Joe's so close to the back of his good friend Tom Smith, and that is going to get very close on the exit of this corner, and down the start-finish straight, isn't it? We're on board with Joe Sayre almost with the driver eye view of the action, but he's not going to be close enough, I don't think, to Tom Smith into that first corner. We'll go to Baza, who's even closer to Neiljack, and he's pulling out from behind him, and past the Pink Panther he goes, and up into 7th place.
Nice stuff there by Baza, relatively easy in the end once he had the run. Neiljack went very wide at the final chicane, which really set it up for Baza, and he made the most of it.
Yeah, good move there.
Oh, Freddy's up! Say Sports is up! Joe Sayre's lost it.
Disaster for Joe Sayre.
That's a shame.
What a mistake that is from Joe. He's made a mistake and he's gone round, and a great result has potentially disappeared. We've got Baza now facing the wrong way as well at Dunlop, so the driver's really struggling to keep it on the track on such a unforgiving racetrack, and Baza is off at just like Josiah and just like Smokey J's. They've all been bitten by this track that loves to bite.
It does indeed, yeah, and Indecisive nearly took a bite out of Baza as well as he was rejoining the track. I think he might have got a bit of damage as well from that. I'm amazed it didn't materialise into a much bigger accident, but Bossman Shaw, he was way down the order a few laps ago. He has got a penalty, but as a result of all these incidents, he's up into 7th now.
I'm not too sure what happened to Alex Afro. He must have been involved in that maybe as well with Baza. Was he in a similar part of the track to him? Because he's now down to 17.
Might have been, yeah, but look at Jack Pearson now, he's right on McNoon.
Oh, here he goes then, Jack Pearson on the attack, moving left and right, having a look at McNoon out of nowhere. Jack Pearson's closed that gap right in. We're looking at action everywhere in this race at the minute, but we joined the front and it's all happening. Smokey J's 3-second time penalty for him as Jack Pearson sets about stealing the lead away from McNoon. Wow, battle joined at the front.
Yeah, it was maybe if he was just a bit closer, he could have gone for the move there into turn 1, and now McNoon starts to pull out a little bit, as you see in the first sector, but come towards the end of the lap, Jack Pearson tends to gain quite significantly. Jack's fallen down the order because that's because he's spun. Jack has also spun.
Oh goodness me, cars spinning everywhere, so now Jack joins the... Oh, look at this, side by side here, Angel versus Devon, Mr. John through Dunlop, and well, he's an angel on this occasion, but it could have been Dev going that speed. That was incredible stuff between those two, and Angel versus Dev up to 6th, Mr. John down to 7th, and he's going wide, Mr. John, and now Chris Johnson's going to slip up the inside and take the place as he, side by side, Mr. John just holds on with that extra bit of traction. Goodness me, this is great stuff.
See some brilliant moves throughout the field, then a lot of action, a lot of drama as you approach pretty much the halfway stage of this race. And will one of the top two make a stop? Or Sam Hickey, he's still right there.
Chris Johnson gets the move done on Mr. John up to 8th place. Chris Thurgood now is going to get involved in the action. So the both leaders are into the pits. We'll come to that in a moment. But look at this, Chris Thurgood on the attack of Mr. John and Chris Johnson. Oh, almost losing the rear end of the car going through that corner. And he backs out the sides to stay away from the battle. So let's go to Jack Pearson in the pits along with Mike Noon. And he's come out behind him.
He has indeed yet, so it stayed as Mike Noon, Jack and Sam Hickey then. That's how it was going into there. Got a yellow flag out. Is that a McLaren off? It is. It's Blair Grills has gone off, but he's rejoined. Top 3 then, all line of staying as they come out this pit lane. And
crucially, they've got a little bit of clean air, the 3 of them, don't they? So that's good. And I said this last week, and I like to say it a lot in commentary, don't find yourself racing with the other cars in front that have yet to stop. You don't want to find yourself on the outside of someone when you've got your nearest rival in the race right behind you, because they'll just go to the inside and just mug you. So you need to be careful. And he's off! Big moment for Jack!
Oh my goodness me!
Hickman very nearly loses it, and through goes Baza. Jack Pearson somehow keeps it out of the wall, and now Baza has to give that place back for some reason. And Jack up and away he goes. Goodness me, there must have been something coming out of his pants. I think they'll need a clean. That was absolutely unbelievable. Sam Hickman as well, great driving to keep it in a straight line as he came over the crest, blind through the left-hander.
Smokey J's has gone off again. Smokey J's gone off again at Dunlop, but it's really terrible race for him now all of a sudden. But I was about to say, as they're going through Dunlop, Mike Noon was unbelievably committed on his outlap as you're going through there, and then Jack was right behind them and just maybe was a bit too committed and made that big error, which somehow Sam Hickey avoided. Just.
Absolutely mental, isn't it? I can't believe Jack Pearson and Sam Hickman are still on the racetrack with no damage. It's absolutely unbelievable, but it gives Mike Noon now potentially a free run, doesn't it?
It does indeed, yeah. We've got Dom here on Baza for 7th place. Baza's yet to pit though.
And that should be an easy move, and it is an easy move. He flies past him. Baza not giving it up easily though, but Dom Smith does get it done by the time they reach the corner. So Dom up a place into 6th on the road. We're still waiting on the pit stops from Chiapelli and Angel versus Death at the front, as well as Baza down in 7th. That should put Mike Noon back into the lead with Sam Hickman in 2nd and Jack Pearson in 3rd. No penalties amongst the top runners at the minute, so we don't need to get the calculators out, thankfully.
Yeah, so Sam Hickey now really it will be Mike Noon's biggest challenger, although of course he's much further back than what Jack was. That is such a shame for the race, but it's not like Brazil really, I suppose, for Jack Pearson, where we saw with Mike Noon where he made an error and he was right at the back. Jack's still on course really for a podium at this stage.
Yeah, he sure is, but he'll be wanting a bit more because he'll want to try and get back ahead of Sam Hickman. I think he will know he's got a pace advantage on Sam Hickman. What are you seeing now?
Look, Bossman Shaw making a move on Blair Grills in a very unconventional place there down that straight as the approaching spoon, but he done basically midway through. He got very, very close indeed. In fact, I think Blair Grills might have a bit of damage. He seems to be going very slow.
Mike Noon's got himself ahead of Angel versus Death. That's one obstacle negotiated, and Angel versus Death's coming into the pits then. So Mike Noon then only Chiapelli in front of him. In fact, no, he doesn't have him in front of him because he just come into the pits. And that means he's got a clean track in front of him, and not only that, he set the fastest lap of the race as well. So all going well for Mike Noon at the minute, dominant in qualifying, and despite some pressure from Jack earlier, now looking good to go on and win this race.
Yeah, it certainly is. You got Mr. Chiapelli now. Look, he's right on Dom. Oh, Dom very, very close there to losing the position. I wonder if he made an error as he exited turn 2 there, because Luca was right on him. It stays 4th and 5th for now then. Chiapelli. Oh, can Luca make a few more improvements in this race?
He's going to go for it, is he? Oh, he's so close to the back of his friend Dom Smith.
We've got a virtual safety car out.
We do. Is everyone pitted though? Oh, how furious will Luca be, having just pitted on that lap? Oh, I suppose it's not an area of the racetrack where, you know, you'll get the benefit of it because they're all in the middle of the lap, aren't they? So
yeah, and look at Sam Hickey and Jack. That came out just as Jack was closing in on Sam as well. Yeah. So this restart's going to be crucial because if they get the power on immediately, Jack could go for second here, and of course Luca is also right still on Dom as well. But Bazza, Indecisive, Blair Grills, they get to pit at the moment, so if this stays out long enough, which it doesn't because it's back in.
Yeah, and Jack Pearson's right on the back of Sam Hickman. Sam Hickman almost caught napping there, and Jack Pearson fancies the opportunity to retake second place in this Grand Prix. Absolutely flying through 130R. Is he going to switch to the inside? No, he's not. He stays where he is for now. Sam Hickman gets to the apex though, does very well. What are you seeing from Dom Smith?
Dom just about kept 4th as well. Luca was right there, but they're both going to DRS. Here we go for Jack.
Jack Pearson breezes past. Surely that's going to be easy enough on Sam Hickman. It is going to be easy enough. He's through and up at the second place. Hickman drops to 3rd, and now Jack Pearson can try and set about Mike Noon, but I feel the damage is done.
And Luca gets done for 4th as well, crucially then. So Mercedes gains a place and Mercedes loses a place with 3 laps to go.
So, the question now is, can Luca Chiapelli get up to the back of Sam Hickman? He should have pace on those tyres. All sorts of action going on with the pit stops at the minute. As you can see, we've got Chris up to 8th now, Mr. John 9th, looking at a back-to-back points finish, but he does have a time penalty. Angel versus Death in 10th on the hard compound, for goodness sake, with Bazza in 11th. It doesn't look like this rain's going to arrive anytime soon, does it?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Doesn't look like we're going to see that rain making an appearance, but we haven't needed it because we've had a great race.
We've got plenty of action, plenty of drama, as you would expect here in TGP2. Always drama in this series, and we've provided it with it again, and that's without a full safety car this evening. We usually get one of those or 2 of those to really spice the action up, but we've not needed it, and it's refreshing to see, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah, but just looking at Sam Hickey here, and he's going to have DRS on Jack here. Yeah, I wonder maybe if he's going to fancy having a go to get second place back in this race. Mike Noon pissing much away and gone now. Oh, hello,
big slide.
Yeah, big slide on the exit, which has dropped him back quite significantly. Luca, look at that, fastest lap. Soft tyres now for Luca, because he starts on mediums. He could get himself on the podium here.
He sure could, but surely Sam Hickman, if he doesn't get past Jack, he'll be thinking, just stay within DRS, give myself that protection to keep Chiapelli behind me. That's all he's got to do now, Sam Hickman. Stay within DRS to Jack, and you'll have something to defend with. He's got plenty of DRS in his pocket as well if he needs to use it. Mr. Chiapelli does not. He's down at 12%. Wow. So this is suddenly, despite the fresher tyres for Chiapelli and the faster and the grippier and the pace, he might not have it in a straight line, because Sam Hickman might just get DRS to the car in front, and he also has plenty of battery saved up.
Yeah, it's very true, yeah. Bazza just getting into 8th place there on Chris. Chris, as he disconnected because he's fell right down the order.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, he's dropped right back as Sam Hickman, and now he's in the clutches and about to be pounced upon by Mr. Chiapelli, is he? Sam Hickman surely deploying some ERS there to keep himself in front. Chiapelli doing everything he can as they go through the spoon curve and then head down towards the end of the lap then, towards 130R. Sam Hickman deploying that overtake as you'd expect. Mr. Chiapelli behind decides to save what he's got. He's not got much to save, but that's what he's going to do. He's going to try and run Sam Hickman out of battery. That's his only option he can do now, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. Chiapelli will have DRS this time round, but as you say, he hasn't got that much ERS, and Sam Hickman will be full deployment here, surely.
He will be, but here comes Chiapelli. He's going to DRS Sam Hickman. Defence towards the pit wall. A real opportunity for Chiapelli. He's gaining and gaining, but not getting enough. Can he go right by the outside? That would be a special move. Oh, he's off the road. He's off the road. He tried his best, but Hickman defends brilliantly. But he's got out of shape. And round the outside. What a move from Mr. Chiapelli on Sam Hickman. He breezes round the outside and up a place without Renault off the road. That's Sir Tom Penguin rejoining. And Chiapelli up to third, and might just fancy his chances to take second in this race.
And that's such a bold place as well to go for the move there, and it's so easy to drop the car. Two cars going through there side by side. Luca went for it, took the risk, and it has paid off. And as you say now, can he possibly get Jack for second?
Oh, that's going to be interesting. He's going to have to be very, very quick, isn't he? Needs to get with the DRS now, really, and try on the final lap down towards the final chicane. That's his only opportunity. Meanwhile, out front, Mike Noonan is enjoying life, isn't he? He's on course for yet another win, his second win in 4 races this season.
Yeah. Although he has fell back by two seconds, I think. It was 6.5 seconds a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
So it's probably just coasting maybe at this stage, and he got a lap to go.
Yeah, just making sure he's got everything under control, making sure he gets to the flag. That's got to be the aim then for Mike Noonan. No penalties is what he wants, and that's what he's doing. A 130.9, not exactly setting the world alight. I don't think he cares about setting the world alight at the moment, and he's on his way to victory. Chiapelli, I don't think he's going to be close enough, you know. I think he's going to be too little too late. As Mike Noonan, there you go, 3-second time penalty. Something he didn't want to do, putting pressure on himself.
Yeah, so it's 1.4 seconds, so it's still probably enough, although, you know, he does just lost 2 seconds in the past couple of laps. He might have to push a bit more on this final tour now.
Yeah, just to keep things under control. He will need to do that. But he won't want to pick up 3 warnings, but that would take some bottle job to do that. So Mike Noonan should have it under control. But we'll have to wait and see as he makes his way round on this final lap. Chris Thurgood's got ahead of Mr. John somewhere on this final lap to go up and double his points for the race from 1 to 2 points. And half Mr. Jones. What have you seen now?
And got very close there, but Neljak and Indecisive as well down the order for 14th. Neljak got the position, but Mike Noonan then, it's a 1.4 second gap. It looks like he is going to make up for the errors that he made in Brazil. And well, do not do any silly weaves across the line here, Mike.
Yeah, just keep it all under control then. As he makes his way through 130R and down towards the Casio Triangle. Mike Noonan, after the embarrassment of Brazil, it's going to be the elation of Suzuka. He rounds the final corner. It's 2 wins in 4 races for Mike Noonan. He fights back against Jack Pearson with victory in round number 4. Great job from him. Jack Pearson recovers to second with Chiapelli chasing him home in third. Sam Hickman will be 4th, and Dom Smith will come home for a solid 5th place. Ahead of Chris Johnson and Joe Sayer in the 2 Ferraris will be 6th and 7th. Great race, great action here tonight in TGP1. I've got to ask you, Danny Man, who's your driver of the day from that race?
I think you probably have to say Mike Noonan. You've seen a lot of drivers making errors in that race. I don't think Mike Noonan put a foot wrong. I'm just trying to recall, just to go through my head what happened there, because we've seen a lot of drivers, a lot of overtakes, a lot of errors. But the 2 Ferraris, we had Sayer Sports round at one point, didn't we? And we had Chris Johnson lagging all over the place, losing a load of positions, and still come through with a solid 6th and 7th across the road, across the line.
Yeah, incredible. What a finish then to that Grand Prix. What a race, what a night's action here in TGP2. The 2 championship rivals, I suppose you could call them that at this early stage, Jack Pearson and Mike Noonan, trading blows in the championship barrel. Mike Noonan will be kicking himself from what he did last time out in Brazil, but he's made up for it here and then some with a dominant performance. Great lap in qualifying to be on pole by almost half a second, and then picking up the victory in fine style today. Initially looked troubled early doors, Jack Pearson had pace, but that mistake through Dunlop put an end to his charge. He had the pace to get back ahead of Sam Hickman, and then Chiapelli charged through for third. But in the end, it's all about Mike Noonan, who's Dan the Man's driver of the day, and he's a race winner here as well. No, not quite fastest lap, Mr. Chiapelli snatching that from his grasp in the end. But let's have a quick look then at the final results from that Grand Prix. Mike Noonan then wins for Red Bull from pole, just as Jack Pearson did last time out in Brazil. Jack Pearson himself comes home in second, losing 7 points in the championship battle here today. Mr. Chiapelli in third with a good charge back through the field on the soft compound. Sam Hickman, disappointed I think he will be with fourth, didn't quite have the race pace today. Don Smith was fifth with Chris Johnson in sixth. Sayre Sports in the other Ferrari home in seventh. Chris Thurgood, he was eighth with Baza in ninth, and Alex Zaffro gets a point in the Renault. Delight for him in P10. Mr. John, frustration, he's 11th after points last time out. Blair Grylls in 12th. Now Jack 13th. Angel versus Death 14th after running as high as 8th earlier on. And Decisive was 15th. Bossman Sean 16th. Sir Tom Penguin was the last of the finishers. Smokey J's 18th and Mr. Shep in 19th failed to see the flag. Well, what a classic race that was. Dan, I never asked you earlier on, who would you say was the top man in Brazil? Who was your driver of the day there?
I think again with that one you probably have to say Jack, wouldn't you? I suppose. Sam was so good in the first half of that race, but made that error, didn't he, with midway through, and feels a bit like a similar story for Smokey J's in this race as well. He was showing promise early on, but Mike Noonan and Jack, I think it's going to be very close between those two in the championship. I'm not entirely sure of the tally, mainly because I don't right now have the app that I was using last season to quickly work out the standings. I will get that app again, but I think there's probably about 5 points separating Jack and Mike.
Well, he certainly gained 9 points tonight, Jack Pearson. So I don't know what it was before, but he's gained 9 tonight. That's what he's gained. So it's a good bit of progress for Jack Pearson to make up some ground. I think he'll be disappointed not to make up more, because I think he saw he had the pace in that race, didn't he, to try and challenge Mike for the win, but that mistake at Dunlop really did cost him. But he did show the pace to get back ahead of Sam, didn't he?
He did indeed, yeah, and he made an error which still gave him a second place. Mike Noonan decided to weave, a few hundred yards early in Brazil, and how that ended up. Yeah,
that's a bit of a disaster for him, but that is the finale then of this. That's the end of the stream. 4 rounds down then, and it's beginning to shape up like there's 2 real contenders for this World Championship, Jack Pearson and Mike Noonan. I mean, do you think there's anyone else? Do you think Chiapelli's got a chance? Maybe Sam Hickman, if they can get some form together? I mean, Chiapelli's already won a race. I mean, we can't forget that. But consistency, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Luca's definitely the underdog at the moment. And I think he will be there to certainly threaten them. Sam Hickey, and then it's the likes of Sam Hickey, Smokey J, is if they can get it together and get the full race without making too many mistakes, I'm sure they're absolutely going to win races at some point this season. Same for Luca, and TGP2, really anyone can win races. It's so close.
Yeah, it can be a lottery sometimes, and there can always be drama. And be sure to join us again next week for more drama at the exact same time. 7:10 usually get underway with the action stream not too long after that. But again, same time next Wednesday, be sure to join us. I've been Ginger Andy, and joining me tonight, thank you for your efforts in the commentary box. Again, Dan the Man, it's been a pleasure. But that's it from these 2 races, Brazil and Suzuka. Be sure to join us again next week where the championship rolls on. Who will be top come next weekend? Goodbye.